Washington Post has added a new feature to Twitter, should you choose to upload it, which will fact check every single one of Trump's questionable tweets. Now, they're not going to fact check every one of his tweets, but every once in a while he puts something out there that maybe isn't so factually accurate, right? And so this new Real Donald Trump context plugin for Google Chrome was released by Washington Post reporter Philip Bump, and it adds fact-check summaries to selected posts by President-elect Donald Trump. Users will need to click a post in the Donald Trump Twitter feed to see any fact-check information from the Washington Post, which appears as a gray text box under the tweet. So we have some pictures to kind of show you what it looks like. Let's take a quick look. All right, so you just kind of click on it, and it'll tell you whether or not, well, usually it'll just tell you if it's false, right?
Save you the trouble. Most of them are.
Yeah, right. So let's look at the other one. Another example. Okay. In addition to
interesting. Two examples are both incorrect or false.
Yeah. By the way, you know, a huge chunk of his electorate believe that he won the popular vote, and I think they just take what he says at face value. I don't think they care about fact checking, but nonetheless.
So that's why they do this, because they're under the misguided belief, and I bless their hearts. You should definitely fact check not just Trump, but all politicians. So I'm glad they're doing this. But the misguided belief that Trump supporters give a damn. Today in the news, I covered it earlier, 52% of Trump supporters believe that he won the popular vote. Not true. They don't care. They either don't know or they don't care. They're, okay, oh, Washington Post says it's a fact? Now I believe it even less. Because that's the lying press, and Trump told me about the lying press. Yeah. So what do you use for facts?
No,
nothing.
It goes further than that, because there's a lot of interesting stuff happening. Like, there's an interesting trend with this election, and I've noticed it before, but it's definitely been more dominant during the 2016 election. So I feel like the real elite in the country, right, and those are the politicians in power, the corporations who bribe the hell out of them to do whatever the corporations want or what the wealthy want, they've successfully convinced working class and middle class Americans that fact-checking and education and enlightenment is something to be frowned upon, right? Something that we should reject. And it's a disaster, because you'll have our president, our upcoming president of the United States, tweeting unprecedented. And if you criticize him or fact-check him, well, then you're just being an elitist, right? And so that actually turns his supporters off to information or evidence more. And I think it's because they've been conditioned, we've all been conditioned for a long time now to like poo-poo education. Like, ugh, you know, look at all these scholars, you know, they're worthless. Like, let's look down at them. They've been dismantling public education. And we're all fighting for scraps. Like, we're fighting for the factory jobs, and we're fighting for whatever scraps the corporate world will give us, while they're secretly, behind the scenes, dismantling the only avenue in which we have opportunities in this country.
So we've been talking about how conservatives do that for a while, but it is an interesting point about how the media helps them from time to time. So you think, no, the media is against Trump and they're trying to fact check him. Some portions are, yeah, that's true. But look at the overall propaganda that you hear out there. So, for example, if you say, hey, one side has facts and the other side doesn't, that's considered outrageous in the neutral press. No, you have to just call it even. Some say this and others say that. But it's not even. There are facts. Donald Trump did lose the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. You can look that up. It's not an opinion, that's a fact. 97% of the climate scientists in the world say that climate change is real, we've caused it, and they can track it, and they can show you the temperature. They can show you the temperature of the ocean as well, and they can show you the ice caps melting. Those are facts. It's not an opinion. But what does the press do? Well, you know, so often the pundits, the idiot pundits on TV, the American people don't want to hear that. You know, that's some people in their Ivy League towers and et cetera. No, they just want, and hey, don't call them dumb or deplorable. You know, that's outrageous, outrageous. No, we should actually laud education.
Yes.
We should celebrate it.
Look, and I'm not saying celebrate it because we should be in a competition with one another over who has, the best degrees from the best schools, who has the most diplomas, whatever. I don't even care about that. Education is to be protected because that is literally the only thing that we have in this country that allows you to move up the economic ladder, right? If you're poor, if you are a victim of losing your job, your factory job, because of outsourcing or automation, why wouldn't you want better for your future by having access to education so you can adapt to an ever-changing market, right? I'm not giving a pass or excusing the outsourcing of jobs, but things are changing, right? And so you want to give Americans opportunities to better their futures, and those opportunities are being ripped away from us as we're fighting one another for scraps.
Culture matters and oftentimes is set by the media. And if somehow in this country it became cool to not work hard, you were a nerd if you did, and if you studied hard and got a good education, and you were uncool. Well, now that we find ourselves with Trump being the president and half of his supporters saying facts are irrelevant, how cool do we look now? Doesn't seem very cool to me. Can you listen to the same old corporate media?
Can't do it.
Now, I hear you, brother. Become part of the independent media. Join us. tytnetwork.com/join.